when you're taking BPC157, whether it be injectable or pill, you're increasing the presence of these healing cells to be going through the body and scavenging out what needs to be fixed. It just has so many great properties to it that it's really hard to deny. Everybody who's listening to this who has never tried BPC should consider using it. Everybody suffers from some sort of inflammation and some sort of nagging old injury. And an injury doesn't mean like I fell on the ground or I got hurt or I had surgery. Going to the gym is the act of injuring muscle tissue. That process happens faster when you have the presence of this peptide in your system. Welcome to the ManLab, where we combine science and health in the pursuit of making men great again.
This is how legends are born. This is how legends are born.
Welcome back to the ManLab. In today's episode, we're going to be strictly looking at oral BPC157. Most people think that it's only available in injectable form, and what is unfortunately being missed in the wider conversation is the benefits of oral BPC on the gut and overall health. So what we're basically just going to be looking through those components of the oral version so that you can find out more information to see if this is best for you, your health goals, your weight loss goals, whatever it is you're looking for in this video. So before we start though, I do want to mention that if you're new to ManLab or T Clinics USA, or you're looking into peptides, testosterone, whatever it is, T Clinics USA does offer 10% off your first package with them for mentioning the ManLab, whether this is your first episode you're watching or listening to, your 10th or your 30th. You just go to T Clinics USA or bit.ly/T Clinics USA. Those links are in the description of this video, wherever you're watching or listening to it. Just click on that link, go to the contact us form, mention the ManLab, and you'll receive 10% off your first package. So I'm here with Jeff and Alex from T Clinics, the founders, co-founders, presidents, the big honchos of T Clinics, to go over oral PPC for you guys to get the best advice for this peptide. So guys, first of all, why would someone want to even take this orally instead of injectable?
Well, let me just start by saying this. Oral BPC157, if I had to choose one peptide that I couldn't live without moving forward, like of everything that we do, and you guys know, like, again, I've tried it all, and I'm on most, short of testosterone would be the one thing that I would choose to be the last survivor with me. It's like
Really?
It is
It's a big claim.
thing that's made my life extremely more improved and remarkably more easy for me to kind of deal with my gut health issues, my overall way I feel on an everyday basis with inflammation reduction. And, you know, people like us who go to the gym often, you know, of course, you're trying to heal quicker, not be sore all the time. And then it goes like even further, like your skin's always in a constant state of repair. You know, your body's always kind of trying to combat inflammation. So I would say, again, I just want to start by saying, like, if I had to pick a peptide that would be the one thing I could only do for the rest of my life, it would be BPC.
I second that 100%.
So that's how passionate I am about this product. You know, it has unfortunately been one of those peptides that was on this list of like banned peptides. And one of the cool things about the pill form is that there was some kind of loopholes that made the availability still something that we have access to. So thank whoever for allowing that to happen.
That was our first solution.
Yeah, we were panicking, you know, just saying shit, you know, now what do we do? But when it did happen, I bought like a year's worth myself just for the, what am I going to do next? But anyway, so BPC157, body protective compound, you know, it's called the Wolverine peptide. Again, it's injectable, it's oral. In this particular conversation, you know, we're going to say, why do we take it as an oral peptide? Well, let's just start with this. It's a gastric peptide to begin with. So if you think about where this is in our bodies naturally, because all peptides are, it's actually found in the inner lining of your stomach, right? So what they did was they realized that the stomach's tissue, the skin on the inside of the stomach heals faster than any other tissue in our body. Because if you have like a problem in your stomach, you know, it's bleeding or has an injury, like it has to heal really, really quickly. Otherwise, the chain of events, the kind of the problems that can create is going to be catastrophic to your health. So your body has to be able to heal the stomach super fast. And the same goes to the inside of your cheek. If you're bit the inside of your cheek and all of a sudden you find like that afternoon it's healed quick, like next day it's gone. And there's a reason, because the presence of BPC157 is significantly higher. So when you take these pill versions, you know, you're introducing a peptide that's already in the gut environment, but an abundant of it to obviously continue to create like gut health improvement. So I had diverticulitis. still do theoretically. I take these pills and, I would say arguably I'm cured. I never have to worry about eating foods that contain seeds or ground beef or broccoli. Jeff remembers, because this is going back, we've been business partner 20 years. I was always that guy. We would go get sushi, no sesame seeds. And I'd send shit back with sesame seeds because I would know it would rifle through me like razor blades.
So BPC effectively cured your diet for
to a point where I was getting worse. Like as the years went on, and of course there was a time in my life where I didn't take near as good care of myself as I do at this point in my life. We were going out to dinner more. I was drinking more alcohol, and we were taking less good, care of ourselves as we were growing our business. And the detriment, the inflammation in my gut, this like I remember waking up in the morning with just what felt like, razors going through my stomach. And when you go to the bathroom, if you have diverticulitis, it's there's unfortunate stuff that happens, and it's like, I got to a point where I was scared to eat a lot of food, and so in beginning the using of BPC157, at first I thought this is just a fluke. Like, I'm taking this pill and it's gone away. But what happened was, and maybe I told the story before, I went to Thailand on a trip. And of course, while I was there, I didn't bring it with me. And so then I started noticing that my stomach problems were kind of coming back. And I'm like, fuck, so maybe it's the food here is like tearing me up, because a lot of spicy food, but it's international. But it was like only on certain occasions. Like it was like I'd have this particular food. And Thailand's not like Asian food in the sense like Japanese, where there's a lot of sesame food or sesame seeds on it. So I could avoid it. Anyway, long story short, is I came back to America and started taking my BPC again. And it's like all of a sudden, boom, like all those problems went away again. I'm like, no way. Like it actually does work. It's been working this whole time.
Find out if you may have low testosterone for free with the Atom test. Now, sometimes it's a little bit nerve-wracking to go into a clinic to get a full blood panel to find out your hormone levels. And sometimes you might just want to sort of kick the tires just a little bit. If you are that person, the Atom test is for you. All it is a couple of questions that are completely non-intrusive, non-invasive, that will help give an indication to you whether you may or may not have low testosterone. And the best part is the Atom test is accurate up to 88% of the time. So for something as simple as a questionnaire, that is a very high number. Now, if you want to make use of that, you can do it online right now. It takes less than 30 seconds to fill out, and it is at bit.ly/free Atom test. That's free, ADAM test. Now, if you don't want to remember that, the link is in the description of wherever you're listening or watching this podcast. And then after you've filled out the questionnaire, you will now have a better idea of whether you may or may not have low testosterone, and if you need to take the next step, which is a detailed blood panel with a clinic such as T Clinics USA. So again, to make use of that, go to bit.ly/free Atom test, and let's continue to making men great again. Let's get back to the show.
And so, I have diverticulitis. We've had clients with Crohn's disease, leaky gut issues, ulcer issues, acid reflux problems, GERD. And it's like all of a sudden we get that universal phone call. Holy shit, it's gone. Holy shit, it's my gut's healthy. And, if you don't have like a true problem like that, you may be thinking, well, I guess this isn't one for me. But that's not true. Very few Americans or people as a whole are walking around with like really healthy guts. And truly the gut is like the most important thing to keep healthy in your body. Like without healthy gut, your immune system goes to shit. Your nutrient uptake goes down. When you eat food, like your body has to absorb the vitamins through the gut, through the walls of your stomach and go through the GI tract. So like with an unhappy kind of angry stomach and gut, you're just not absorbing all these vitamins and all the stuff that is in food near the what you should, right? And so now are you getting like a malnutrition kind of dietary plan, but then that creates like a huge amount of inflammation. So now your body starts to tell you there's problems. So now your knees start to hurt. Now your elbows start to hurt. Now your skin flare-ups. People start losing their hair even because of inflammation issues. So, now if you're calming all that down, making all that happy, you start noticing like, man, my knees don't hurt. My elbows don't hurt. Like my skin looks better. All because you've improved this gut health environment. And then, kind of just to give you like a total overview of like the benefit of BPC157, it has a systemic healing property to it. Now healing, when you think about it, if I have like an actual injury, meaning like I ripped my bicep or if I tore my lat or something to that degree.
Hypothetically,
may or may not have happened to me.
may have done this.
You know, your body sends these kind of signals out to your brain and says, there's a problem here. I need attention and I need more focus on bringing different, you know, reparative tissues to this location until this area is no longer injured. When you're taking BPC157, whether it be injectable or pill, you're increasing the presence of these healing cells to be kind of going through the body and scavenging out what needs to be kind of fixed, right? So it's kind of like these little cells drive around like, oh, there's a problem in the knee, like rings a bell, like come on down here, shines a light, like come down here. So, you know, when you're taking these pills, I know you're healing the gut, but you're also inadvertently in kind of the systemic ability to heal other things that are going on. So one of the things that we notice, people who come to us with gut health improvements are like, man, I'll tell you what else, my knees like haven't felt this great in years. My ankles don't hurt anymore. That shoulder pain that I've been trying to work through is all of a sudden gone. It just has so many great properties to it that like it's really hard to deny that everybody who's listening to this who has never tried BPC should consider using it, because everybody suffers from some sort of inflammation and some sort of like nagging old injury, maybe current injury, or maybe future. And an injury doesn't mean like I fell on the ground or I got hurt or I had surgery. Going to the gym is the act of injuring muscle tissue. You know, when you lift weights, you legitimately are intentionally ripping the tissue in your muscle, causing trauma that's intentionally going to be repaired stronger and bigger. That's how muscles grow. That process happens faster when you have the presence of this peptide in your system. So,
And so, if you're like, I guess one thing would be, could you take this with injectable? Like, say for example, I mean, right now my shoulder's like buggered up. Could I inject BPC and simultaneously be taking orally as well?
Yeah. No, so a lot of times, you know, I think a lot of people in the space or who've kind of used BPC, I think a lot of people think injectable is the only way, or it's only meant for injury and you got to put into the tissue. And we do recommend if someone has like immediately in post-injury, post-surgery, putting it into the tissue is going to initiate more repair response there, angiogenesis, forming new blood vessels, fibroblast development, you know, helps with collagen, and then obviously inflammatory process. So yes, it's great to take post-injury at the site of injury. I've used it. I actually had surgery a couple years ago and I was back in like 6 weeks. I used it into my knees. I'm actually bone on bone in both knees, but I've always relied on the oral because, and I kind of look at the oral as, you know, more of it blankets a lot of stuff. It blankets the gut, and then systemic, you still get that benefit. Whereas the injectable in our book, that's going to go more post-injury, post-surgery, more pronounced for an issue that you're dealing with. Not saying you can't use it for something chronic or old, but I think personally I have a lot of issues and a lot of clients that have tried it. The oral actually is, in my book, better for the stuff that's been chronic and old, whereas something newly formed or newly caused, injectable, and we always say take both. If you're really trying to get back or trying to get over an injury, taking the oral and also taking the injectable typically works better.
Yeah, so it's like another thing that we always want people to remember, like, you know, when you're using a product, something you can actually keep up on. The problem with taking injectable is that, you know, it's something that obviously costs more money, and it's a process that most people aren't willing to keep up with. Pills are easy. You know, you pop pills every day for some sort of another. So whether you take a pill in the morning or the evening already, you know, just keeping up with that is so much easier than just something that I think is more acute. You know, I kind of reserve some things for when things are bad enough to need them. And what I mean by that is this: it's like if you bring every bit of artillery to the easy fight all the time, what do you have next in the event something worse happens? So I think like BPC is more of the kind of daily use product just to avoid the inevitable and just kind of calm some of these kind of reoccurring or post dramas and post little aches and pains. And then in the event you do have a more serious injury or you're planning on having a surgery, you have this next thing to kind of come out of the gate and kind of compound onto that oral protocol you're already on. You asked, could you combine the two? There's no reason not to. There's no point of which you've taken too much BPC157. Yes, there will be a waste, but you're not going to compromise your health. It's not going to create risk. there's never a study of anybody like ODing on BPC157. And we don't even really know what is the maximum threshold of use. So
Nuviva Medical Weight Loss has helped over 50,000 men and women in Florida lose over 500,000 pounds in body fat. Now, there are wonder drugs out there like semaglutide and tirzepatide, but it's important that these tools are used properly and safely with the correct guidance, because that guidance is what will help you make sure that you're losing that unwanted body fat while keeping the lean muscle mass. Nuviva Medical Weight Loss has over 10 clinics statewide in Florida with expert coaches who are with you the entire way, helping you with any habit adjustment, large or small. The secret behind Nuviva's continual success with their clients is their in-office expert experience. You will speak directly with a support coach, and if you have any questions, you will get immediate answers. If you are struggling, you will get immediate adjustments or pivots that will keep you on track with your goals. And what's great is you can choose the route of your weight loss goals. So if you just want to take diet adjustments and some supplements, you can do it. However, if you want to go a little bit of a stronger, faster approach and use semaglutide or tirzepatide, the Nuviva expert coaches can also help you along the way with that as well. So if you have a lot of pounds to lose or even just a few pounds and you know that having some support with an expert coach will get you there faster, contact Nuviva at either nuvivaweightloss.com or send them a message on Instagram at Nuviva Weight Loss and mention the ManLab for a little perk. That is Nuviva, Nuviva weightloss.com or at Nuviva Weight Loss on Instagram. So hit up Nuviva, get an expert coach, get that support you want, and let's get you feeling amazing again and lighter again. Let's get back to the show.
If you're in like
There's no studies of like side effects. There's nothing like,
in the world of peptides, unfortunately, there's not been any company that would be willing to finance like a true study, and any study that's been done has been very minimal. Oftentimes they're bailed upon, or they have like a group of 30 people. There's just never some like mega type of FDA type of trial.
Is that because it can't really be patented, so there's no one that has a vested interest in
I will say that we
anything?
do hear about some big pharma companies trying to isolate and trying to trademark BPC157
mode
because
and
of
delivery of
the
it.
mode delivery and application, because it is so abundantly popular. I mean, we're talking about on this podcast, and I've heard Joe Rogan, and I've heard Andrew Huberman, and I've heard Ben Greenfield, and all these big names out there. They talk about it like it is the next best thing, and it is. It is truly that peptide has like almost no side effects, and creates these benefits like healing. I mean, who doesn't want to heal faster? You know, I'll give you a great kind of thing that we do now is we work with some plastic surgeons, and they've created this kind of pre and post program that they can give to their clientele. And I say pre and post, meaning that we give them oral BPC157 to get in their system before they actually do the surgery, because they want the gut to be healthy and they want the body to be as like kind of minimally kind of dealing with any problems or inflammation to begin with. They go into the surgery after being on it for about a month in this really healthy state. The surgery is easier. They heal from the initial trauma better, and then start introducing the shots once they're in that healing process in combination, with the pills. So if you're considering doing a surgery now, whether it be plastic or elective or non-elective to some point, I would strongly suggest consider getting on a BPC regimen before, and then 100% consider being on it after. Because I'll tell you what the worst news that you get when you go to get a surgery, at least for me, is when a doctor says, "All right, I want you to stay out of the gym for 6 weeks." I'm like, fuck you, like stay out of the gym for 6 weeks. I'll be there tomorrow. But, because you want that healing event to be as fast as possible, but also you don't want to have to like redo potentially something that you just, went through. Like if you're replacing your knee, or like I had a hernia surgery, and of course I went back to the gym too quick. The quicker it heals, the faster you can get back to your life.
Yeah.
Right. And that's the biggest threat of like surgery, is how much is it going to take me off my schedule, or put me out of the gym, or take me off of the course, or take me off of the pickleball court, or whatever it is you do. Like you want to get back out there and do this stuff, so.
Well, I mean, even to add that, I know a couple providers that have been doing some like PRP / like cellular type things to get people back quicker, and the response they've been getting with incorporating like even BPC into the cellular therapy injections has been so pronounced. even myself, I'm bone and bone. I've had 9 surgeries in my legs, and I don't take Aleve, aspirin, NSAIDs. But I'll tell you this: when I don't take my oral BPC, they swell up. And so, like, I've gotten to the point where it's like I would rather take that and not screw my gut up and have the issues that come with NSAIDs by taking BPC.
And some areas of the body are just tough to take shots into. Like if you have tennis elbow or you have like a crunchy lower back,
The bony
like taking a shot in your elbow sucks. Like I'm gonna tell you straight up. Like if you're considering doing BPC157 and you're doing shots in your forearm or elbow, hats off to you because that is not an easy one. Or if you have like bad ankles or Achilles, like there's no good place to take a shot.
Forearm to fix one problem.
And so then the alternative to that is like we tell people, we'll take a shot, in that limb. Like so you do your shoulder, it affects your elbow. Or like if you're an Achilles,
Just take the pill.
Just take the
Just
pill
let it go.
because like it's going to go systemic and
And the
it's going
gut
to have
benefit alone. Once
gut
again, you're
health
going
too.
back
So,
to like the second brain.
Again, like in my situation where I really messed up my lat muscle a few years ago, I was taking injections right in the injection because that's an easy shot. Like that was, like I could stick a needle anywhere. But I've had those bad elbows and I've had rough wrists, and it's like there's just nowhere to do a shot comfortably. Take the pills. You're going to get a significant better, kind of healing or overall just the way you feel, so you can handle life, with them. And we actually integrated it recently into our weight loss program because there's so many people who are out there right now on these GLP-1 drugs, semaglutide and tirzepatide. They're getting nauseous. Their stomach is slowing down the digestion of food, which inherently is kind of creating a little bit more of an upset stomach effect. Yeah. This allows the stomach to heal itself better, so the body can actually lose weight quicker. They don't experience near as many side effects, but also just allowing somebody to have a happy, healthy gut, their digestive system, they go to the bathroom more frequently, they're not having acid reflux and heartburn. They're just feeling so much better and healthy in the stomach region, so the diet is so much easier to follow.
Is there so when taking oral BPC, is it best to take it with food, without food? Is there a gap?
Food. Straight up with food.
And what's the reason behind that?
There are certain medications out there that you should take without food because you don't want the food to dilute the effects of the medication, right? Or like a shot of peptides that, we've talked about CJ/C1295, ipamorelin, cemerelin, tesamorelin. Like you do those at night and you want to avoid eating with an hour before, or at least, and obviously 2 hours after, because insulin can, to some degree, kind of exhaust the quality of the IGF-1 from being produced. With BPC157, it's a little bit more of a delicate molecule, and you don't want the acidity of an empty stomach that has a lot of gastric, kind of juices that are in there at like the highest degree of potency to essentially destroy the food. So when you eat food, it kind of calms things down. It brings the pH of the stomach down to a more kind of tolerable zone. It's not so toxic in there. So that pill doesn't get instantly evaporated. It actually absorbs about 80% greater. So I read a study that said, let's just use 1,000 milligrams of BPC157. They would say like 20% on an empty stomach and up to 80% absorption, with food. So you're always going to lose a little bit.
Yeah.
The stomach isn't a neutral environment,
right,
as we know. But most medications, supplements and whatnot, you lose some, but again, with food, you're going to be able to.
We'll put it along the same lines as like probiotics. If a lot of probiotics out there, people take probiotics, they take them empty stomach and they never survive the gut. So like they end up not getting much out of their probiotics. There's actually a company, I wish they would do the same thing with BPC.
That encapsulates
it's a 2-capsule system where the first capsule breaks, it's a pre, and the inner capsules actually makes it further through digestion and survives the gut. Yeah. So double capsule it so it could actually make it further would be smart.
We know who talked about that.
Huh? I know. That's what I'm saying. Like the same science behind it.
Well, the same way as why they do like liposomals to some of these like glutathiones and things out there, because in oral pathways, you taking glutathione, your body breaks it down, but adding liposomal, which kind of binds it to fat, allows it to kind of
until we have the double capsule,
absorb itself.
Take it with food.
Yeah.
Quickly, before we get back to the episode, please hit that subscribe button if you haven't on whatever channel you're watching or listening to the ManLab. And if you're listening on Spotify, if you could leave a 5-star review on the channel page, that would be greatly appreciated, because that will help continue to push it a little bit further for whoever is looking for information to help improve their health. Now, on the topic of information, if you are on YouTube, you can leave a comment below on this episode and we will respond to it with as much information as possible, or it might be another episode down the road. The reason this is important is because the more questions you guys ask, the more we know what we need to do to serve you guys better in future episodes. So comment on YouTube, leave a 5-star review, hit subscribe, and let's continue to help making men great again. Let's get back to the show. Hey guys, so just quickly, we've noticed a lot of you commenting that you're not sure where you can go to get trusted and safe peptides, semaglutide, tirzepatide, testosterone replacement therapy, or testosterone boosting therapy. And we wanted to just make mention that T Clinics USA is one of those places. Now, Alex and Jeff, who you see in this podcast frequently, they're probably in this podcast right now with me, they are from T Clinics USA. And as they've shown in episode after episode, details is what matters. So just because you may want something or think you need something, they are going to make sure that you are getting the thing that is right for the goal that you have. And what's better is they offer a 10% introduction discount to anyone who is listening to the ManLab. So that is you. So if you wanted to make use of that, get peptides or testosterone from a place that you can trust that have your goals in mind and want to show you the right way to get there, go to tclinicsusa.com, mention the ManLab for 10% off your first package, and you can even ask Alex or Jeff directly any questions you may or may not have, which is kind of cool. So just again, tclinicsusa.com. If you don't want to remember that, the link is in the description of wherever you are listening or watching this podcast. Mention the ManLab in the contact form and you will receive 10% off your first package. Now let's get back to the show. What about timing? Is there like morning, night? What's the best time to take BPC?
I don't think it really makes much of a difference. I think it's a collective of it being in your body repetitively. I, for one, take it twice a day. I do morning and night again because I have more severe reason to want to use it. I think for general gut health, depending on, again, like how you react to things, you may be able to get away with as small as 1 time a day or up to 2. Generally, they come in like 500 microgram doses. So some people do that once a day. Some people do it twice. Mm-hmm. There are a lot of companies that sell this stuff online, and some of the quality of what's out there nowadays isn't what it's supposed to be, or they're selling underdosed products. So you may think, oh, well, this company sells it for X, let's call it $100, and this other company sells it for $150. I should buy the 100. Pay attention to the dose because they may be giving you 250 microgram pills twice a day, where the other company could be giving you 500 microgram pills twice a day. So do pay attention to the strengths. And again, generally, what we recommend, and we're not telling anybody here what to do because this is not for medical prescribing, but it's entertainment purposes only.
Research
generally like what I take is 500 micrograms twice a day. So a total of 1,000 micrograms.
I mean, if you could get it and it's good quality, I would say out of the gate, anybody who hasn't taken it, AM, PM, at least for the first month to get things in check. And then if things are good, I've been able to manage pretty well with the 500 at night. But if something comes up or if I get injured or I'm dealing with something, I typically double up.
Yeah. Is there a shelf life for it? Like we mentioned with NAD in our episode.
No.
So it doesn't matter, like if you forget about it for like say 3 weeks, it's not.
I mean, it's a supplement to a point, right? It's in a pill. I think it will expire to some degree over a period of time. A lot of supplements, a lot of peptides, even though they have expiration dates on them, the ones that are reconstituted or in like a liquid state, those have an expiration time on them. But generally, pills are very, very like kind of tolerable and long acting. And I would even be as bold to say, like, don't even pay attention to the expiration date. Now, if it's like 10 years later,
and where it's stored, I guess,
right? How it's stored, if it's cold in your closet and it's dark, those things are going to play into it. But worst case scenario would be like a dud. It's not going to harm you.
Yep.
So if you get a bottle of something that's like 6 months or a year old, I wouldn't think, oh, this is garbage. I would still personally use it.
Perfect. Cool. Anything else?
I mean, listen, again,
I'll just.
I mean, listen, outside of my hormone therapy, that definitely my pick.
If you're suffering from anything, like again, I mean, like,
or even not, I take it just to keep going. Like,
exactly.
Again,
no, you're causing trauma every single day. You go to the gym, you train hard. Now I'm 43 trying to do Muay Thai.
Yeah.
I mean, our bodies are in a state of constant being stressed out, and we sleep in order to repair. Like, we know this conversation. Why not aid it? Why not give it more ammunition to fight that fight? And there's really very, very, very little reason as far as risk is concerned. Almost every single person could take it. There's almost no person I can imagine that would be off the list. We don't even have a precaution of as far as like, cancer or non-cancer or any. I mean, literally anybody could take BPC157.
I mean, I'll add to that. My son, actually, a couple years ago, he was starting to get growing pains and he kept limping, and he was playing baseball. And so I was like, I'm getting him BPC. Gave it to him. Within days, the limp went away.
Interesting.
Stopped giving it to him, started limping again. So
now,
fast
this is
forward.
Entertainment for
I've
the
seen
people.
people- I've
Listen,
seen-
you could say what you want about me. I feel strongly enough for the safety profile of it to give it to my son.
Yeah.
Right?
I've seen protocols where people give it to their pets too. If I have a dog that I'm very, very fond of, and I wouldn't just give it to her like just to give it to her. But if she was ever in a situation where she experienced injury, I would definitely consider it. I would try to figure out the dosing. Yeah, you had a very elderly dog that was going through some struggles.
He was 16, man. It was crazy the difference in his joints when I was putting in his water. Dropping the capsule in.
I mean,
drastic difference.
Wasn't Jeff? Correct me if I'm wrong here. Wasn't the original BPC157 test done because they were noticing the saliva in dogs' mouths?
Yeah, I mean, there's some arguments on that.
They would lick their wounds.
Yeah, Dr. Pavlov back in there were some arguments about like they would heal faster, and was it because of the BPC or the quantity of BPC that they?
Because that's why they would lick their wounds. It would help them.
But it's
heal their
found in
wounds.
our bodies.
We also
Saliva.
innately lick wounds to a degree as well.
What?
When you mentioned earlier, and it got me thinking, our mouths heal very fast.
Yeah, the
so
saliva.
It's like because of saliva. So it's like, I know, like mosquito bites. I lick it.
Yeah.
Next day, it's fine.
Yeah, there has to be some
So
validity
probably
to
some
that.
validity to it.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Perfect.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, that's it.
All right, guys. So if you're interested in BPC orally or injectable or any other peptides, go to bit.ly/tclinicsusa or tclinicsusa.com. Links in the description. 10% off if you mention the ManLab. And make sure to subscribe if you haven't already. And we will come back and see you guys again soon. Peace.